here as I was working on the curb. Now, there's two ways to do the curb. I'm going to show you this way because it's the easiest way. And I will show the method of building the curb using sand mix in another video. But for this installation, we're going to use 2x4s. So basically, all I did is I brought my first plate all the way down. I got it screwed in a little bit, and the biggest thing that I needed to make sure is this is an older house. It's a cabin like I told you yesterday, and the floor isn't exactly level in this place. Well, I still want my curb to be level, so what I did is I just took my level and I strung it across, and I seen where this hit here, the top of the 2x4. So I drew put two 2x4s on the ground, and I drew a line right on the top of it. And then I did the same thing over here to see where it would land. Well, it was way out of whack, like a 1/2 inch difference from this end to the other. So I shimmed it. And this is all going to get covered and waterproofed anyway, so it's solid. But what I did is I just put a little bit of backer board underneath there, and then I put some shims under here to hold it up nice and tight. So that's just one way of doing it. You want to make sure it's going to be solid. This is solid. It's not going anywhere. And that's a very important thing. Now I'm just going to double up one more time with some more 2x4s. And then we're going to screw these in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up here on both sides and the top, and we're going to put cement board on there. And that's what we're going to do right now before we continue any farther. But one of the things that I made sure before I screwed this in is I talked about that 4.5 inches, and I made sure that my cement board right here went flush. Now I cut this one a little shy like we talked about earlier, so it's not flush to this one, but that's okay because it's flush to this wall, which is what I want. So I have a little bit of gap there, but we'll fill that in with thin set, so that's no big deal. But you want to make sure that when you put your tile on here, that it's flush to the curb and to the wall. And then of course I did the same thing on the other side here, and I made sure that that was flush there too. And so those are the things that you want to look for when you're making this curb. And again, like I said, you can use 2x4s, it's not wrong. But if you're doing this on cement, obviously you're going to want to use sand mix. You could still use 2x4s. You just have to figure out a way to sink some screws into the concrete, which isn't too hard. You can drill and then screw in to the concrete. And I'm sure sometime in the future I'll show a video on that. But this is going to be a solid curb. It's just not preformed. And the thing that's nice about a preformed is when you're using sand mix, you can make sure that you get it level from here to here and just smooth it out pretty easy without having any shimming or anything. You just will draw lines. And I'll kind of talk to you about those lines that I'm talking about in here. Figure out what level we're going to have our shower pan at. And I've got a pretty easy technique to use that I think you're going to like. So that's what we're going to work on now. We'll get this cement boarded real quick, and then we'll talk about the shower pan. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how we put the cement board on this curb. I've already cut it all in, but I'm going to take it off real quick and just show you how easy this really was so that you know, because this is a nice little tip. But basically, all I did is I took some smaller pieces like this, and I just took it, and I kind of figured how long it would be to get to right to the edge there. So I just drew a line. And I just took my knife, scored it a few times, and then I broke it. Then I just took it and I set it on the back side of it. Just like that. I just took my pencil and drew the line. And I went around and I did that to each side. And then after we had the sides up, then I measured to see how wide it was with the cement board on there. And then we made that top cut. So this is pretty easy. So you just do the same thing here with another piece, flip it around, do the same thing here. And then when you get to the top, I would just measure that and make sure that you cut it a little short of what the actual width is, so that you don't have any sticking out, getting in the way of the tile. It's better to be just a little short on that top piece. We can square it off nicely when we get to the tile. So that's a quick tip on how to put cement board on this curb.